He's never shaken. My hope is in the Lord. Time after time, our God is faithful, trustworthy Savior. My hope is in the Lord. Day after day, our God is reigning. He's never shaken. My hope is in the Lord. Time after time, our God is faithful, trustworthy Savior. My hope is in the Lord. You want to be seated? The kids can do this in their secular kids.
Morning. I'm very happy to be here, and Brian, I appreciate everything he's done to recognize first responders. It was a morning very much like this morning, beautiful blue skies, crisp September day, and we all know what happened. But today brings us to another point where we can really pay homage to those who are out there on the front lines every single day. And so it's with a great deal of pleasure I'm able to do a proclamation for our first responders. So this is a proclamation from the city of Choctaw, whereas individuals, both career and volunteer, from 911 dispatchers, law enforcement, firefighters, emergency medical services, search and rescue, and other organizations in the public safety sector, come together as first responders to protect and aid the public in the event of an emergency. And whereas every day, first responders risk their own safety in the performance of their duties to protect our citizens, and whereas first responders are our first and best defense against all emergencies that may threaten our community, whatever their nature, and whereas first responders are ready to aid the people in the city of Choctaw 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and whereas first responders are highly trained and specialized workers who contribute their excellent skills for the public good, and whereas the members of first responder organizations undergo significant education, training, and personal sacrifice in order to achieve the expertise required to respond to every type of emergency situation. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor on behalf of the city of Choctaw, Oklahoma, that the 11th day of September 2016 is proclaimed First Responder Day in the city of Choctaw. And I want to say my personal thanks to all those responders, and each and every one of us tell what every responder that we know, thank you, whether it be from a firefighter to a public servant that's out there helping to clear debris after a natural disaster. So Brian, thank you for everything you've done and for your contribution in recognizing this day.
Does Brian mention? Yes. Is this on?
No.
Technology. Brian's been a valuable part of our team for the past year. I don't know if all of you are aware of that. He's been at the OU Medical Center now, and he's helped me out for a year now. And in his, he's learning a lot, and so I'm really proud. I tried to recruit him a long time to come over and just kind of expand his horizons a little bit. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And I've been here before, talking about my foundation and so on down the line. I've only been at the hospitals at the Health Science Center for 39 years now. So I've been there a long time. And as I start out here in Christian authority and authority, I start out in my professional life there at the hospitals. The first thing that came along with me was the Star Elementary blow up. Anyone remember that? Y'all are wait. You're not that old. And yeah, that's okay. You got some hair like me, so you're not. So that was a first experience with a gigantic trauma and a crisis like that. And so I remember that very vividly. People coming in, parents coming in, and all the children that we got just to Children's Hospital. After that, then several years, we always have some trauma, always have some stuff come in. They decided they wanted to be a level 1 trauma center. So we are the only level 1 trauma center in Oklahoma for adults and children. There's 2 certifications. About that time they started doing that, then we had a Murrow building. Y'all remember that? Now I know about all of you remember that. Do you remember where you were at that time? I imagine you do. Because anything like that happens, then you have this mark in your brain with that memory. And I remember all that we did there, and the thing that lingers with me there are all the people working together, all the fire department, the police, the ambulance, the first responders there. And by the way, Brian, for his sake, he's a kind of a second responder, because when he's on call for trauma, guess who meets the trauma when they come in? The medical team, and guess who's on the medical team? The chaplain at our place. And our protocol is, they spread that and say, you need to have a protocol like us. We started that years ago. And I remember that, and I remember the blind spares, and I remember the despair on the parents as their kids, as they had them I had them in a room here, and as there wasn't anyone else coming in to the ER. I couldn't match any other parents because there weren't any kids coming in. That not haunts me, but I just remember it. Then after that, of course, they asked me to do a lot of, I did my stuff, and I did some certification in how do we help people, first responders. How do we help you? How do we help people who have to deal with tragedy all the time? Policemen too. And so we did our training in that, and we helped after the Murrah bombing. And then all of a sudden come 9/11, like today, 9/11. With 9/11, then of course everyone remembers where you were, again, and what you were doing. And I remember I was in the dialysis unit with some kids and so on down the line. But then I got a call a week later, and the FEMA wanted me to go up with a team from Oklahoma City because they thought we did a good job with the Murrah building. And I'm president of the EAP, that's Employee Assistance, we do that stuff. And they sent me up to New York City. And up there, then I remember vividly not only all the people in despair, New York City. I know I'd never been to New York City, and I kind of had this idea of what New York City people were going to be like, right? And all of a sudden I found them, because they were in a time of despair, they were looking for some foundations. Does that make sense? And we had to wear a shirt that said FEMA on it, and all of a sudden they'd see you, and they would all of a sudden show respect. Okay? So it's up there working with, they assigned me to the fire station, and there every day, a room this size filled with all chairs. I had to deal with firefighters as they come in and interview each one, and I was helping them with their PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Respect was very common then. But now, if you'll click that, we have a crisis. What's the crisis? Crisis is that now all of a sudden, even though our country is kind of in a little flux there, but we're always in a little flux a little bit, all of a sudden this respect has kind of gone down a little bit, hasn't it? Think about it. Next slide. So, authority and respect go together. Think about that. Authority and respect go together. Now, let me show you a little history here. Next slide. And let's look at this real quick. Sorry our kids left. Could have been some of your kids. Next slide. All right, now, you got some kids there, and they understand that there's this thing of respect. Respect, to me, this is a crisis today. Let's look at a little history. Now, I'm not going to spend much time here, so follow me real quickly. The early church, what kind of respect did they have? They were told that you cannot worship, but they worshiped, okay? But then they didn't go out and rebel and take up arms and fight. So in the midst of all the persecution, the Apostle Paul, the Christians were kicked out of Rome, but the Apostle Paul wrote them and said this. Next slide. What did he say? He said, be a responsible citizen. So, this is taken from Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through 7. Be a good citizen. All governments are under God, insofar as there is peace and order. It is God's order, so live responsibly as a citizen. If you're irresponsible to the state, then you're irresponsible with God, and God will hold you responsible. Duly constituted authorities are only a threat if you're trying to get by with something. Decent citizens should have nothing to fear. Next slide. Do you want to be on good terms with the government? Be a responsible citizen, and you'll get on just fine. The government's working to your advantage. But if you're out breaking the rules right and left, watch out. The police aren't there just to be admired in their uniforms. God also has an interest in keeping order, and He uses them to do it. That's why you must live responsible. Not just to avoid punishment, but also because it's the right way to live. Next slide. What's the right way? We ended up. Verse 7. That's also why you pay taxes. So that an orderly way of life can be maintained. Fulfill your obligations as a citizen. Pay your taxes, pay your bills. What's last? Respect your leaders. So I'm saying that through all of this today, in honor of our first responders, in honor of the people that work for the government for our protection, what we have a crisis today in the midst of all this, next slide, is a crisis of respect. For instance, this has not happened before. The first farmers in colonial America, they were told now all of a sudden that you need to either join up with George Washington and rebel. So there was a dilemma. Was it a government that was totally against God? No, but that's a dilemma they had to wrestle with. How do you dilemma with that and respect? Next slide. And then you had Hitler, Germany. Now that's a little different because Hitler was totally anti-God, right? He's totally anti-God. So what do you do if you're a Christian? What kind of respect do you give there? And so Christians were divided up. There became the church over here that Hitler controlled, and then there became the underground church. I don't know if you know your history there. Next slide. We have a person by the name of Bonhoeffer, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a member of the Visible Church, and but he didn't like it. He said that we got to obey God rather than men, and like the early church did. But then, so he came to America. He came to America for a year or so, and he decided, I can't live here in good conscience. I need to go back here because Christians are being persecuted in Germany. So he came back to Germany, became part of the underground church, and he decided in his conscience to do what? He decided to be a part of a plot to kill Hitler. Some Christians would say you shouldn't do that. Some Christians would say you should. But still, he was trying to deal with the issue of respect, of authority. Next slide. So, we have a lot of unrest today. Click. We have people today that's saying that there's certain people that are not doing right, and we have a responsibility to rebel. Do we? Do we? A Christian should be respectful. Isn't that what Romans said? Should be respectful. The early church said we will respect, but when you tell me I can't worship God, I still got to worship God. Now the government's not telling us not yet, even though it could get close. But we have an issue today of people then saying, I don't like what you're doing, I don't like the police, and so I rebel. Should that be our first response? And I would say no. Next clip. God-given, when God set up Israel, first of all, He set up a leader, right? Moses. He brought Moses. He brought the people out into the wilderness. He brought them to the Mount Sinai, right? Now, how do you make a nation out of a bunch of people that have just been slaves? What do I have up there? The 10 words, or some people call it the 10 Commandments. Actually, in the Hebrew, it's 10 words. And these 10 words, God says, He gave to Moses and all the people, not like Cecil B. DeMille's in the movie. God spoke the 10 words to all the people from the mountain. Read it. You'll see it. And he said, here is what you base the nation on. What are the 10 words of the 10 Commandments based on? Respect. I am the Lord your God. Don't have any other gods before me. Me. Respect God, he says. Then he says, respect yourself. Set a day aside for rest. And you'll not only respect me for that, you'll respect yourself, your life, your health. Then he says, respect your folks. Remember that song there with the kids? Respect your parents, your teachers. He says, respect your parents. Then he says, respect the laws. Respect other people's property. Don't lie, don't steal, don't covet, so on down the line. He says, you base your nation on this. And folks, what that is a respect for what's right. Makes sense? Next question. So, the word respect, you give it, and then you give it. If you don't give it, are you going to get it back? Let me say that. That's a question. If you don't give respect, will you get it back? Come on. If you don't give it, you will not. Okay, it's just what it says up there. The problem with what we're finding today is a lot of people aren't giving it, are they? To God-given people, he says that the police, the fire, are part of the authority that God has given. They are a minister, so to speak. Next slide. So, having a good reputation is the way for success. Next click. A recent study revealed that the difference between a top salesman and average was reputation. Now, how does a salesman get a good reputation? They build up a respect. Next click. So people trusted the top salesman. That's why they became the top salesman. Not because they were flamboyant. Because who trusts, now there might be some car salesmen here, but the typical car salesman, who really trusts him? I don't know. Can I believe them? But the fact is, the top salesman is one that's trusted, and you'll buy from him. Next click. So, no one likes to do business with no one they don't respect. Next click. So the Bible says a good name is more desirable than riches. Next click. Your self-worth is more important than your net worth. Isn't that true? Now, what I'm going to show you today is how you can gain and give respect. Next click. Next click. There's a study, and it came out not too long ago, and was in the 2013 Harvard Review. And it says that rudeness and disrespect is rampant at work, and it's on the rise. Over the past 14 years, it polled thousands of workers, and there's been a 100% increase in disrespect at work. They polled these people, and here's what's happened. That there's a 48% decrease in work effort when people are disrespected, 47% decrease in the time spent at work, people don't go to work as often, 80% lost work worrying about an incident, are they going to get on me, are they going to pounce on me, 78% said their commitment to the organization declined because they were disrespected, and 12% said that they left their job because of disrespect. Just one offensive and disrespect can cost an organization many things. Next click. So, the common mistake that most people think is, so they worry about themselves, how do I look? How do I present myself? That shouldn't be the most important thing. Click. To build a long-term relationship, you must focus on your character and not how you look. It's how you look on the inside, how you are on the inside. That's how you build respect. So, you got to give respect to get respect. Next. It must be earned. You go on. Today, I'm going to look at Proverbs real quickly. It won't be a long time. And I'm also going to be looking at, to illustrate this principle. Let's go on. I'll be looking at, here are 6 character qualities found in people who are respected by others. I'm going to show you that in 4 different areas of your life. Now, what are the 4 different areas? Next click. We got to have respect for yourself. You got to have respect for others. You got to have respect for authority, and you got to have respect for God. If you don't have that, you're not going to be successful in God's sight. Let's go up. So I'm going to use Daniel as the next click. So here are the 6 characteristics of respect. You want to be a person that's respected, you're going to have these things. I will look at them real quickly here, and also refer back to Daniel. So, next click. Respect is earned, number 1, through having the right priorities. Now, what does that mean? I need to learn that the most important things come first. Okay? The most important things come first. Next thing. Seeking what's really important. Next thing. And doing what's really important. You got to seek it, find out what's the most important, then you got to do it. Does that make sense? You got to find out what it is, and you got to do it. I'm called on every day to do a whole bunch of things. I could spend every day at my desk answering a lot of frivolous emails. And so a lot of times I have to weed all that stuff out, because the most important thing for me to do is get up on the floors and see the people I need to see. But as a director, there's certain things I've got to do to make sure we can continue doing that. And there's such a thing, as called the Pareto principle. And that is that 20% of our time pursues 80% of the results. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but let's look at this. In counseling, 20% of the people take up 80% of our time. Right, Brian? Next. Products, 20% of products take 80% of the profit as a company. Next. Reading, 20% of the book contain 80% of the content. And I do a lot of reading as far as in ethics, because I teach medical ethics at the hospitals, at the Health Science Center. And I have to read a lot of research stuff. And I've learned to read what's the most important, so I don't have to read word for word all these protocols. And that is true. Next. In your job, 20% of the work gives us 80% of our satisfaction. Next. 20% of our presentation produces 80% of the impact. So you're only going to look at 20%, so I'm going to emphasize that 20% today. Next. 20% of the people will give 80% of the money, even in this congregation. Going on? And leadership, 20% of the people will make 80% of the decisions. Next. The most important one, I want you to get this one. Church picnic, 20% of the people will eat 80% of the food. I don't know if that's true. I've never seen, well, I have seen Brian eat a little bit. So. Okay, let's go on. So in Proverbs it says if your goals are good, you'll be respected. In other words, prioritize. If you earn the trust and respect of others, you will work for good. So priority is number 1. Next slide. So early in Daniel's life, he was captured. He was brought over to a different country. And so his first thing he had to make a priority. Priority was that he wanted to stay faithful to God. Is that our priority? Next slide. Number 2, respect is earned through integrity. Now what's that mean? Click. Practice consistently doing what's right. Or practicing a higher standard, or helping or having the right attitude about yourself. So integrity is just being the right person no matter who's watching. If I have a priority, and my priority is I want to be a legacy for God, then no matter if people are looking around or not looking around, integrity is I'm going to be operating the same. Going on? So Proverbs says, respected people do not tell lies. The man of integrity walks securely, but he who takes crooked paths will be found out. How many times we've been tempted, and wherever we're at, wherever we work, even at school, no one's watching. Well, I can maybe take that pencil, or I can do this, I can do other. You see, integrity starts with the little things. And if we don't do the little things right, when we're counted on to do the higher things, will we do right? It's part of our issue with our politicians today. Can we really respect them? Can we really respect them? Going on. So Daniel, for instance, when he was captured, and he had a priority, his priority was with God. When he was captured, he said, God wants us to have this diet, the way to live. And he says, now we could be, no one back home is watching me, mom and dad are away, no one's really watching me. Us poor guys, we could do what we wanted to do, we could live it up in the kingdom, in the royalty there in Babylon, but they chose not to. Why? They chose to stay faithful to what they believe, to their priority. Next slide. So respect is earned next through humility, power under control, or power of knowing how you fit, or power of seeking help others when needed. In other words, there's a lot of people that go into a place of work and they say, I want to work my way up, and no matter what, I'm going to run over them. You gain respect by doing that. No, you don't. I see this all the time, and being at a place for a long time, I see a lot of people and you know what they're trying to do. They'll talk down to other people, about other people. In other words, Jeannie is my wife's name. I will say she's not my wife, but she's a co-worker. I will talk down to her to Brian, because that will I think will make me look better. It's not right, is it? It's not respectful. And so, respect is earned through humility, is knowing where you fit, and staying there, and doing what you are there to do, and when you do it, and you do it good, you'll be lifted up. Peter says, I will lift you up. God says, I will lift you up in due time if you do what's right. Going on. So arrogance will bring your downfall, but if you're humble, you will be respected. Anyone who listens to correction is respected. Now about Daniel. Next slide. With Daniel, what happened to him is that he was there, and he knew where he fit. He knew he was being tested. And so the idea was that he didn't just rebel. What did he do? He went humbly to the person in charge and give them his dilemma. And he didn't talk down to other people. He didn't do that. He just said, you can do this. Here's our priority. Can we work this out? Respect. So the next thing in respect is dependability. Can you depend on you? Can people depend on you? It's a good question. If you say something, that you'll do something, will you do it? Will you do it? I mean, when Jeannie and I lost our house in a tornado, well, we lived in Moore. Does that tell you anything? Even Choctaw is almost as bad as Moore, okay? So y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of you probably been hit anyway. So people, the builder would say, well, we're going to be there such and such. I take off, be there. They don't show, right? So what's my opinion on builders? Are there any builders? I don't want to ask them. But what's my opinion on builders after all that? Is that profession has a lot to sometimes be desired. So next time I pick out a builder and a contractor, I want to make sure they're going to do what they say they're going to do when they're going to do it. Make sense? So I like to say that to my students, if you say you're going to be back with a family, you go back to that family. When you say you're going to do it. If they're out in the waiting area in the trauma, and you say you're going to be back in 15 minutes, you need to go back in 15 minutes, because that's important to build respect. And if you don't, shame on you. Shame on you. And that builds disrespect for the institution. A Christian, to build respect, will keep their word. Going on? Look for ways to go above and beyond. Okay, go on. So, like clouds and wind without rain is a man who boasts of gifts he does not give. Or he who keeps an oath, even when it hurts, will never be shaken. Going on about Daniel. Daniel then was dependable. And when he said he would do something, he did it. Later on in his life, we know that he was there, always there when some different kings would want him. And he was always there, always not to put down other people, but just to do the right thing. Going on. So respect is earned through generosity. We give to what we think is important. Next, investment pays dividends. And I believe that a person of respect will give back what they gain. Going on. He who gives generously to the needy and shows kindness will be powerful and respected. Next. And we know that Daniel gave. We're going to go on here. The last one here. Respect is earned through putting God first. God says on the 10 words that I'm first. So, going on. Let's go on. Go on. Okay. Next. So, if you want favor with both God and man and a reputation for good judgment and common sense, then trust the Lord completely. In everything you do, put God first. He will direct you, crown your efforts with success. So, going on with Daniel, we find that he put God first. When he put God first, good things happen for him. He was spared. So, coming down to the end here. Next slide. Washington Post this week, Jamie Atten, a cancer survivor and a Christian, said, how many people respond to trauma and how they make meaning in the trauma. Many people said, why me? I was a good person one night, why me? So they always looked at the trauma, always looked at it as half empty. Then they ran across a guy in the Sandy hurricane and asked him when he lost the roof to his house, he said, sometimes you have to lose a roof to see the stars. And that took him back, because back east, they don't have a tendency like us to say, there's some good in this. Going on. So what are people going to remember about you? What are they going to remember about you? Will they remember you as a person of success? Edwin Stanton, in 1814, there was a law case in Chicago called the Reaper case, McCormick. Remember the McCormick reaping machine? And so they called some Ivy League lawyers from back east. This Edwin Stanton, they called him over with a whole bunch of other Ivy League lawyers, and they said, we need to try this case. But we're going to get in front of this judge in Illinois, so we need someone local. So they picked out this local guy, and they talked to this local guy, and Edwin Stanton said, this guy, oh man, this guy is an ape. We need to get rid of that ape. Call him an ape. And so they would tell him the wrong time when the court started, so on down the line. But this local guy stayed in there, and he didn't try to badmouth him. He stayed in there. Well, Edwin Stanton later on became pretty powerful. He became Secretary of War. But guess who became his boss? That ape, and his name was Abraham Lincoln. Interesting. Because Abe Lincoln was a person of respect. What do we think of Abraham Lincoln as opposed to Stanton? Going on. So, to get respect, you got to give respect. To get respect, you got to give respect. Where are we at in our respect today? What do we got to know, Harmony Christian Church? Are you people of respect? I pray that you are. The fact that you spent this time, took this time out to honor this type of thing says a lot. So, a lot of our crisis today also stems from the church. Are we giving respect like we should be? Let's pray. Dear God, I thank you for this time and opportunity. And I pray, Lord, that as we end this service today, that we respect you the way it should be, because, Lord, you are the way. And Lord, and show us the way, how we can give respect. Thank you again for what you've given to us. So this is my prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks for coming and sharing with us today. And the last thing we will do today as a part of our services, like we normally do, is we'll take communion. There's communion set up in the back of the room. There's communion set up here. This is our time. We remember that God did show us some respect, that while we were not so respectful ourselves, God came and he brought his son Jesus, who went to the cross on our behalf. And so because of that, every Sunday here at Harmony, we take communion every Sunday. So that's what we're going to be doing here right now. So there's communion set up in the back of the room, communion set up here. I'll be back there where it says Harmony Prayer Chapel. If you've got any questions or something you have to pray about today during this time of communion, I'll be right back there. Whatever you need to do today to kind of connect with God, you've had a busy week. Today it's 9/11, and it's kind of been a busy, a lot of things are maybe on our mind and stuff, and so just take some time today, take a little bit of grace juice, take a little bit of this bread, and remind yourself about God's grace in our life and His love for us by going to the cross on our behalf. I'll say a word of prayer, and these guys are going to play, and when they're done playing, that's the last thing we're going to do today. When they're done playing, you're free to kind of go about doing stuff. So I'll say a word of prayer and take communion whenever it is you're ready, and I'm back there at the prayer chapel if you'd like to pray about and talk about whatever might be going on today. God, again, we are grateful for your Son, Jesus. We're thankful for the ways in which, God, you have moved in our lives. We're thankful for the love that you've shown us, and God, at this time, we are ever mindful of your sacrifice of sending your Son, Jesus, to the cross on our behalf. And so as we take this little bit of grape juice, take this little bit of bread, we're ever mindful of your love in our lives. So Jesus, we pray. Amen.